Hello and welcome to Redmen Radio, the Liverpool podcast from us, the people at the Redmen TV. That's a lot of uses of the word Redmen. It's the fourth one. We're going to talk about Cardiff. We're going to talk about Huddersfield. We're probably going to talk a little bit about City and United, even though there might be some of you listening to this after that game's been played. But nevertheless, news in a moment. But kick off first because I am joined from clockwise from me around the table. Wow. Tom Dutton.
Hello.
Ben Kelly.
Hello.
And Ross Chandley.
Hi.
Great. All very odd and unnatural. Thanks, gents. Elliot Hopkinson. If you could choose one Liverpool player to be tattooed on your arse, who and why? Tom Dutton.
Well, for me, this is to scare anyone away, theoretically.
Okay.
Because no one's ever going to see my arse.
No one.
No one.
No one. Because I don't get it out. So I'm thinking, if it was to happen...
Not through choice.
Exactly. So I'm thinking... I mean, maybe after that singing, you might get it. But it's Virgil van Dijk. It's got to be him, like with a roaring Virgil van Dijk.
What, a little speech bubble?
No, it's not. I mean, he's facing away. No, actually.
So
you want Virgil face down on your ass?
No. That's what I'm saying. I don't want. I want it facing away.
Facing away, and this is supposed to, in your eyes, deter people from wanting to be near your bottom.
Even more so.
The arse isn't enough alone.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's a secondary measure.
I mean,
are you wanting someone to get closer? Is that what you're saying, Ross?
Well, I've gone for Shaqiri.
Why?
In fact, because he's the smallest, and by the time the arse is shriveled a bit more, it'll disappear.
But you can get it as big as you want.
Shaqiri.
Go on.
You could have it life size and it still wouldn't be that big. It'd
be a pimple.
Okay, Ben.
I've gone with Van Dijk, but for completely different reasons. I've just gone because I like Van Dijk. I mean, if I've got to choose, I wouldn't choose to have somebody's face tattooed on my body of all the tattoos I could have. But if I had to have a Liverpool player of the current squad tattooed on my body, on my arse, and that was a choice I had to make, I'd go with my favourite player, and it's Van Dijk. It's just... why... I don't understand what on earth would possess me other than this question.
Well, you're never going to see it, so does it matter?
Well, I suppose it doesn't, but it's still I don't know. It's still my body.
It's a very hard question.
You've explained it to someone as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Why have you got that?
Because it was a question on a podcast.
No, but you wouldn't have to, because unless you're getting it out, it's one of those things that you probably would act like. People who've got knob piercings who actively look to whip them out at every given opportunity. You just go, I've got my knob pierced. Look, it's fine. I believe you. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not something I think you'd lie about, and if you did, then that's your own set of problems. Is absolutely fine. I reckon I'd have to go down the route of. Anyone ever watched Jackass back in the day?
Yeah.
And Steve-O basically got himself a tattoo of himself on him. Is it on his back or is it on his front? Anyway, but just something hilarious. So it's whether you go with like a full massive laughing Jurgen Klopp.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it says player in the question.
Okay.
Well, you could do.
He was a player.
You could do a Bobby one with like a shining tooth.
Yeah. Oh, you know. So, but like the comedy said, does it come from being like it's Mignolet or it's Moreno? Yeah. It's just something because look,
Carrie's trying to catch your arse.
I'll be honest. But it's something like it's a hugely regrettable decision, no matter who you get on there. So it might as well be a talking point, and not like you stop liking a player. Like you might go off, might go off Van Dijk. You know what I mean? I know it's unlikely, but you might. You can change on this. Whereas there's just Alberto Moreno. You just have a giggle, like you know what I mean? What the fuck have you done there?
That's a really tough question. Anyone listening, let us know who and why, because I really struggled with this.
Let us know in the comments.
You could have Steven Gerrard, and then if you don't wipe yourself properly, it looks like he slipped on mud.
Wow.
I don't want to relive that.
Brilliant. I thought we'd that was all.
Yeah. It was all put to bed. Robertson slipped.
And
slip
back.
Have Robertson then?
Why? Because he
slips. Because if he slips and he's fine and he gets mud on him, but it's fine. Brilliant. Caught offside. Ran an article at the weekend saying that Liverpool fans mocked the death of Emiliano Salah. Just to clarify, 100% not true.
No.
Absolute, complete and utter fabrication. Because offside ran an apology on their Twitter, which basically
was weak.
this is the thing for me, Ross. Me and Chris just did a big section on our podcast this week about how, look, you can make mistakes in life, and particularly when you're working in an industry that's not particularly well regulated at all. Provided you're penitent after the fact, and you go to every length to undo the thing, and you see to be better off the back of it, then look, we can all make mistakes and we can all move forward from them. It took them, like, they apologised, and then they still didn't delete the article. Now they have deleted the article, but it's this point of, if you want to be a legitimate organisation, this is the difference between the press and not the press. And we give the press loads of stick, and there's this notion that the press print lies, and some of them do. They do. But they are regulated such that everything needs to be sourced. If you're going to put something out in the media, you need to have at least 2 sources on that.
Oh, they had 2 tweets to go off.
They claim they had 2 tweets to go off, which, again, we're living in a world where Twitter's not a source.
No, it's not at all.
It's not very forgiving either, because once, like, even if they put that out, and someone will always clip that up and screenshot it, and it's there forever is the problem. So
exactly.
And if it ever goes out in ours, I question myself 2-3 times if it's something that I'm not sure of, or I'll come to you or Chris or whatever. They've basically gone for 15 minutes of fame, in my opinion, and gone, oh, we'll put this out, we'll leave the article up because we'll get all the link clicks of people checking out or what's going on. They've got some sort of marketing from that, whether it's negative, but there's no such thing as bad.
Well, I can't think I've talked about caught offside before or anything. And no, exactly. To say the utter gobshite.
So they would have been trended on Twitter, no doubt. People go over there. They've still got, what 30,000 followers on there.
But it's going to be deeply offensive no matter what way. Whether it's true or not, it's deeply offensive regardless. Like, all right, if it did happen, which it never, I guess you've got to kind of call it out. But the problem with
I'll be honest, Tom, it's not caught offside's job to be breaking news stories about these things. I mean, to be perfectly honest, if they are a legitimate organisation, they'd have sourced it. And if they're not, then wait until you see this in a proper newspaper who will have done the due diligence on it.
It's these articles where they're just literally getting tweets for me. And all right, like, some of them are just happy-go-lucky. Oh, there's an article of, oh, all these people were laughing at some player, ha ha ha, and then they post people's tweets, and that's the article. Fine, but when it's a serious thing, you can't just post people's tweets and then go, well, what's our thoughts on this? No, that's not, unless it's a respected journalist who's come out and that's how they're breaking the story.
Yeah.
But it's
the
a
other
joke.
problem is we all know there's like negative connotations with some Liverpool fans, but we did a podcast about you can't brand the Chelsea fans racist because they're not. Yeah. And they've ridden on that and gone, actually, we'll put something out, we'll make it believable because something goes on Twitter or whatever.
Well, it's jumping on the hate of Liverpool fans. Exactly. It's that, and I don't want it to be like almost if we're I hate using the word, but as in playing the victims with this, where, oh, poor us, we're up. But it is almost a case of they've seen opportunity there. They've seen the general consensus of Twitter is that nobody wants Liverpool to win the league. Everybody's against Liverpool fans all the time. They've gone, well, we've got an opportunity here. We've heard a couple of things. Let's be first in breaking this potential story. It's the way it is. It's speed over accuracy at the moment. That is the way the journalism industry works now. If you can get something out quick, it doesn't necessarily matter whether it's right, because people are going to be talking about you, and people are going to come to your website before they've been anywhere else to read that story, and that's what's important, and it's a shame.
It's just some lads by the looks of it, because I saw a tweet from someone who was a Man United fan, something or other, and he put the tweet out, and then afterwards he said, God, I love this game, as a follow-up tweet, because he knows what he's done. He's done that just simply to troll, and it's been picked up by these, and I mean, look, ultimately no sympathy for them, more fool them for being caught up in it, so to speak. But
I like the way Peter Moore dealt with it. I really do. I
saw that there was mention of Peter Moore being involved.
Yeah. He asked them to follow him, and then they got a DM, and then after that, he asked them twice, didn't he? And then they've obviously apologised. So he's definitely gone in there and went, hey, not on, sort it out, and they've gone, all right. And then
that lad who originally tweeted did a succession of tweets like that, and went, oh yeah, I've said a DM from a Liverpool lawyer asked me to take it down. And was like, again, you're just riding on like this notion of social media going, oh, you get 5 minutes of fame going on.
We think about Liverpool and we think about the stuff, they get criticisms and have done for a number of years. And I think lots of that started to subside and helps when Liverpool are good on the pitch. But this is the shit that they've got to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, they've got people who...
There'll be plenty more between now and the season.
Oh, like, absolutely. These are the random things that you've got to deal with when you're running a football club, like defending people making up absolute bollocks. And all it takes... Because I've had to live with this. We've all had to live with this with the Hillsborough Slayers. Like, I lived in Sheffield for 4 years. around doing university, and I'd bump into people, and we talk about Hills when we talk about the Sun, and they'd say, well, you don't like the Sun because they printed the truth. And it's like, because people get their opinion. If people don't care to have their opinions tested or challenged, once you've got an opinion on something, it's quite a lot of effort to change it, you know what I mean? And some people just don't care enough, so they'll get that opinion. There will be people out there who saw that, who will think that is the truth and have carried that forward, because that's unfortunately the way the world works. So there's a percentage of people out there who will now wrongly believe that Liverpool did this, and that will colour their opinion of Liverpool fans forever because of that.
And mainly kids, because they don't think, because if that was at any other club or if something's happened before, like you see stuff on Twitter all the time and you go, I'll wait till I hear something or I see video evidence, and there's nothing here, and there's loads of people jumping on the bandwagon like Ben says, going, yep, must be Liverpool. They've done it before.
Typical Liverpool fans. This is why everybody hates Scousers. You see them all, and all it takes is a very, very small thing to set people off, because people are just desperate to knock Liverpool down at the moment, whether it be the team itself or the club.
Well, as long as they just make an example out of them and just go, well, there you go, this is wrong. If anyone tries to do it again, this is the thing. Make sure you source it.
I think Peter Moore's quite a reasonable guy, and he's also a very canny business fella, and I think it would fit in the ethos of going, right, everyone, apologise, take it down, and we won't take any further action. But equally, talked a lot about this lately. I think it depends again how prepared these are to go, because if they just think deleting it and try and get on with it is it enough? I don't know. These things move on very quickly, don't they? People won't be talking about this in a couple of days' time. But I wonder whether, Ross, in the instance of like the people who are making that stuff up, I'd be coming down on them like a ton of bricks, because you can't get away with it. You can't get away with that. You can't do that and expect to get away with it. It's libelous. You know, and if that was any other world, there would be you would be getting in contact with people's lawyers off the back of it. Like, so no, I think it's disgraceful.
Set an example was what I was going to say of going, come down and he's like a ton of bricks now. It'll send a warning out to anyone else who's thinking about trying it. Currently, as it is, it'd be another account. There'll be millions of accounts set up, and it'd be like, okay, we'll do it this time, but nothing happens to caught offside, so it'll be fine with us. We'll get our 15 minutes of fame.
I think it's extra especially important, really, at the moment, the age that we're living in, where we're trying to stamp things out like racism in the game, where if you're seeing stories like this where people are making up people chanting things when they're not, then suddenly you're in a massive grey area there, because suddenly it only takes one person to go, well, I heard a load of United fans chanting racism towards Raheem Sterling on Wednesday night, and it's not true. And suddenly you're being sent mixed messages about,
particularly because of the whataboutism that goes on in the media. That then all that then gets used as evidence against something else, and then it's a real thing because you've seen it twice. You've seen it originally reported, and then you see it used as ammunition in another argument. And then if you're not looking to check the veracity of any of these things, well, I've now seen it. It's so real that people are using this as a counter argument in a situation. So therefore, it must be. It's a piss.
It's the same with other accounts. You can have someone who's a City fan or something with an AVI of a Liverpool. They'll say something, and everyone thinks he's immediately a Liverpool fan. Therefore, then you go get challenged with something that they've said. It's fucking stupid.
Well, it goes into it, and it's probably we're getting wildly off topic with it, but all the deep fake stuff and all that. Like, we live in a world where you can make anyone say anything, and you've got to, now it depends how much you want to stop those things happening. It's a bit of a fucking weird time, to be honest. But speaking of weird times, let's get into transfer rumours. Start off the Express, who are notoriously horrendous for transfer rumours, saying that Fulham want 40 million for Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, I'm sure that's probably a thing. I'm sure they probably do want a good chunk of money for him. Obviously, Fulham are going down. Liverpool have got wonderful priors for buying players from relegated teams. Spurs are the ones. I think the Spurs fans all think he's nailed on to come to them, but he's not been great this season. I don't think he set the league alight like we maybe hoped he would.
I've kind of forgotten he existed, to be honest, for large parts of the season. He's not been on my radar at all. I mean, he was one of the players coming up where you thought, oh, here we go, this is going to be... I mean, he was touted for the England squad, at parts of last season in terms of, I'm not sure if it was for the World Cup, but there were friendlies running up towards the World Cup where people were discussing him getting a call up from Gareth Southgate, and that's all gone quiet. You know, the Nations League is coming up. It might be a good opportunity for Southgate to perhaps experiment with the squad a little bit, but he's just not even on. He's not even on the short list, and I just think
Tom's done some quick googling.
So last season in the Championship, 49 games, he scored 16 goals and 8 assists. Fantastic return. Premier League this season, 32 games, 2 goals, 6 assists. I mean, it's the assists that we want to look into, really. So that's Trent's got how many in all comps? I think it's like 9 or something, is it? I mean, it's one of them. You're playing for a team like Fulham, who aren't very good in attack, to get 6 assists and 2 goals there. In a better team, maybe he wouldn't get into our first 11s. The thing he's still worth 40 million.
He's still a kid, isn't he? And it's whether his future lies at left back or left wing, because I suspect a lot of that's come from playing further up the pitch this season as well. Like, but I think 40 million pounds is too much. Like, but you know, Ryan says, you know, we talk about this about getting the next. We're making lads do it in the mid-20s better at football. He's still probably, 19 years old?
I reckon under a better manager as well. You get Fulham had 3 managers this season, one of which is Scott Parker. You know what I mean? So you put Jurgen Klopp with him, you know, and youngsters in healthy competition as well. I think you find, you know, that's what Klopp's developed at our club now, and you know, he gets the best out of people.
Absolutely. Salah and Klopp apparently fell out, and he wanted to move to Real Madrid. That link to Real Madrid to come back again this week.
He's definitely gone, Paul.
100%.
Like,
it's just like Mane was for like the past 3 months.
Well, we're not matching his ambition in any competition. We don't have a world-class team, a world-class manager, a world-class backroom staff. Why would he ever want to stay?
Because he can't take the penalties, Tom.
Yeah, there you go. I want to speak about that later.
We'll talk about that on the Cardiff section, definitely. But now this is complete and utter horseshit. Complete and utter horseshit. And I love the fact that we were talking about pre-recording, but it came from the original Fallout thing, came from AS, and then it I can't remember what Salah's age is. It Remy Abbas, is it? And he basically tweeted, "I see the talking out of the AS again," which is just brilliant. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So this is going to go on forever because Real Madrid have got Zidane back. He's looking to rebuild the Galacticos, etc., etc. So inevitably, all the world-class players in world football will be getting linked with Real Madrid. Also,
they've got the money for it. That's
but
the thing.
They haven't. So you know, I mean, it will be interesting to see whether they do.
Hazard's tip to go to.
Well, Hazard has been linked for a while.
Pretty much nailed on.
That's going. Yeah. So they're literally going to have to, because Bale's not even. Apparently and stuff, they need a whole overhaul, don't they, really? They're apparently bringing Pogba in. It's going to be a great team. It's going to be a fantastic summer for them because they're going to bring in some good players.
Did they replace Ronaldo with it?
They just said
no. They just said
They bought him.
They've got that Vinicius Junior.
Before, but
he's a good player.
I'll be honest. I've paid very little attention to Real Madrid this year, and that's probably because they've not been in my face as much because they've been.
They've been garbage, yeah.
Great.
They've been
Great. But no, I can't see that happening this summer. Certainly not. You know, maybe I think if Liverpool do match Salah's ambitions, let's say we win 1 piece of silverware or we come close this year, I think you maybe get another year, and then conversations start to be had about whether players want to move on, because it works both ways. Weirdly, is if you don't win anything, players start to get itchy feet and think, can I go elsewhere and try and fulfil these ambitions? But equally, if you win everything,
you're in the spotlight, aren't you?
Well, no, but also you go, well, I've done that now. Where's my new challenge? So players.
Well, Messi's not done it, has he? Messi's not come to that conclusion yet.
True enough, I know, but that's the ambition for Liverpool, isn't it? Is to be a point where, as long as you're in the top 2 teams in England, easy as that is to be, then. What's the point? You're swapping countries just for a change of scenery, aren't you? And that's when it comes down to, it's just a bit warmer in Spain, isn't it? It's just a bit more, but the food's a bit better and the weather's a bit nicer.
Even if we win the league and the Champions League, just big up the League Cup to him. It's prestigious, the best thing in the world. Stay for that, mate. Be fine.
Yeah, that's Jordan Henderson. How important it is. Right, Sam. Robbie Fowler has been unveiled as the new Brisbane Roar manager. Congratulations to Robbie Fowler. Fair play.
He'll keep him at the house, won't he? I'm gutted we're not going to see him at the LFC Legends game, or maybe he'll fly over for them. But I
stop Steven Gerrard's actually managing a proper team.
I had a quick look. They've got 18 points in 26 games, which puts them 9th in the A-League. They're not very good.
Okay.
And then Ross checked when he was trying to get this season stats.
Mid-table.
Were they mid-table last season?
Given there's only 10 teams in the league and they're 9th, yeah.
But if there's no relegation, then it's a perfect thing for them just to be like, oh yeah, I'll just have a.
I think it's Robbie Fowler's one of them, isn't he? Like he's my favourite. He's my favourite footballer ever, basically. Favourite Liverpool player certainly, just because he was just the idol when I was growing up. But no one looks at. It's weird how no one thinks about Fowler in terms of being a manager. Be interesting to see how he gets on with it. I mean, I can't. It's not the well trodden path to go to the A League and then end up as Liverpool boss, of course. But
he played over there, didn't he?
He did, yeah. So I think he said his family enjoyed the time over there, and fair play. I wish him all the best. I think he's reached that point as well. I haven't had a brief chat with him the other week that he, physically, he always had injury problems anyway, and like the Legends stuff, he can't really play too much football now anyway because it just hurts him too much. So the managing thing, he's wanted to get into management for a while, and he's obviously somewhere nice and warm, and he's happy, and he's probably getting paid a fair wedge. So yeah, all the best to Robbie Fowler. The Red News Roundup show is coming up on the website this week. I believe Steve will be back in to record that. If not, I'm sure we'll figure it out. But yeah, the redmentv.com for all of that stuff and a whole lot more as well. All the things in and around Liverpool and transfer stuff gearing up for the summer as well. Right, before we crack on and talk about Cardiff when Liverpool won handsomely /2-0, we've got a sponsor this week. It is Tokyo Time. We've got some caps on display on the table for our video viewers. Tom's just making a sort of hat putting on motion there.
Let's go fishing.
Yeah. So can we just point out, like, again, this, do watch the video version for all this, of course. If you listen on podcasts, it is very hard for us to describe things, but Tom is wearing the sumo camouflage cap at the moment to go with his camouflage shorts.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think you look amazing.
I mean, I'll take it. I don't suit caps or camouflage.
I disagree on both counts. Anyone else?
I think you look okay with the cap on. I think you look okay.
Yeah.
You look like a young boy willing to learn about the world.
You look like you're just missing some yarn from your mouth and a spit bucket.
I'll be honest, I don't wear caps at all, and I've been wearing them around the office. When he first came in, I'd just stick one on, and then obviously I have to take it off when I'm playing pool because you can't see over it. Yeah. But actually, I quite like
turn it backwards.
Exactly, but then I look too cool.
Oh, right.
Too cool for pool.
A skateboard just appears in my hand whenever I do that. It's really weird, actually.
I'm not a fan of caps, but I do actually like them. It does suit you.
I've said this before. There's some people suit all caps, some people suit certain types of caps. And I must admit, they're the kind of caps.
See,
not too bad to be fair, but Tom really does suit that. And look, the thing I always say on these when we're talking about the Tokyo Time stuff, I'm just not a hat person at all, but I appreciate the look of a good hat, and I'm so jealous that I don't suit them because I really wish I could, because there's lots of people that I like and respect who look really good in hats. Yeah. Tom being one of them now. But they are fantastic, and if you want to get hold of a Tokyo Time cap, you can go to bit.ly, which is bit.ly/Tokyo Time _Redmen TV, and you can use a code Redmen20, which is all caps, REDMEN 20 for 20% off your Tokyo Time hat. They've got a phenomenal range of stuff on there. We've got on the table here the pink one that was so expertly modelled by the man, the legend, Chris Pajak the other week. There's an all black one on there, which again, like, I've got the Liverpool blackout shirt from this season. I want to suit that cap.
Bailey's robbed it. He wears it all the time, and he looks good in it.
Really annoys me.
There's some Redmen ones going into production very soon as well.
So stay tuned for all that. But go and have a look around. Go and have a little feel around it. If you're into caps and you want really good ones, and even if you're on the cap fence, so
summer's coming. You need it.
Summer is coming, and this is the thing. There's a bunch of things that you need to get now. The shorts. Not necessarily saying camo shorts, but it's an option if you're into that kind of thing. Sunglasses, hats, and suntan lotion, and we can box you off with not just any old hat, an amazing looking hat with 20% discount. I
really wanted you to say, we've got our own sun lotion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can model that as well. Just lather yourself up on the podcast.
I am very pale, so it could, if you like, keep yourself pale.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to do.
Brilliant. Get involved with that. We'll put the link in the description underneath, and as ever, check at the Redmen TV for the latest offers and stuff in regards to all that stuff. Right, Cardiff. Just to kick it off, I thought it was fantastic, Ben. We apparently deliberately trained on a dry pitch on Melwood just to acclimatise ourselves to this. Jürgen, we are so many steps ahead of everything that's happening in the world right now that we are actively like ruining the pitch at Melwood just to give us a fractional better understanding of how the game was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has done his research into Neil Warnock, hasn't he? I thought it was a really interesting insight. There was a few interesting insights in that post-match interview from Klopp, obviously that being one of them. The other one being the corner routine that the players basically figured out themselves, which I thought was brilliant, because if the players are learning on the pitch, then that must make a manager's job so easy. But yeah, no, the dry pitch, there was a lot of comics. It was one of Sky's narratives at the beginning, wasn't it? It was and the pitch is dry, and that's going to be difficult. They have to we'd misplaced a few passes and all this, and then actually it wasn't a problem because we'd been training on it all week and we were used to it anyway. And I thought brilliant.
You've got to take away as many variables as possible. Obviously, you can't stop the wind and stuff, but there's been so many times this season when managers have said, no, this is a reason out of our control, and we've just gone, this is going to be out of our control, let's put it in our control, and let's at least give the players a semblance of what it's going to be. Let the grass go a bit longer, you know what I mean? Because it all, as much as you like to have a laugh about it, it all makes a difference. I was playing footy on Sefton Park the other day, and the grass was too high to kick a ball on. Yeah. I know it's a wildly different thing, but when the grass is short and wet, we play better, because that's City play better.
Look at us against Leicester. We're clearing our half the pitch of snow because we know that it could potentially have given us an advantage. Yeah. I mean, we didn't go on and win that game, but Jurgen Klopp's it's just little things that
we didn't have time to do the other side.
Was that the way it was?
Prioritised. But this is the point. Marginal gains are the thing, and that's where we're at now. People might be shocked by that or whatever, but I think we've done this on the podcast before. Liverpool have 2 Anfield pitches. They have the pitch that's literally in Anfield, and the company that provides that pitch has another pitch, identical pitch on their home offices or whatever, that they replicate how it's been torn up from the game before, so that they can monitor how the pitch works for Liverpool, so they can identify how it works and how it runs and all that kind of stuff. We don't think about these things because we still got this whole football is a really simple game of 22 lads kicking a football and the one who scores the most goals, and at its fundamental best, it remains that way. There's levels of inception happening around modern football that we're not privy to. So I know I love the fact that we just, I'm not sure we necessarily need to mention it, but I also like the fact that we've just done it just for a bit of needle. Just they've tried this and fuck them. And Warner has got all his other stuff Jurgen wants to try being me, as though Mainz Football Club never existed. I know. So Mainz used to train in a park, mate. Yeah. I'm sorry, but Cardiff, as much as you might think, for some reason, Cardiff, shit. It's not. It's
not a Premier League team. They've got Premier League, all right, maybe Championship level facilities. There's so many clubs around world football where they're I would love that many backroom staff. I would love to have a kitchen that we can use instead of bringing our own sarnies. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you know what is a small margin? The fact that he's centre-half, a Liverpool fan wanted him to win the league, and he gave away a penalty and missed the header.
I love that.
That's a small margin.
I love that so much because he was terrible, wasn't he?
But he came out last week and said I want Liverpool to win the league, then proceeded to do that.
That header was unbelievable watching that back. He completely misses that. I was saying on a man of the match, I think Sadio Mane puts him off. He obviously loses him
Someone
to start with.
Someone was reporting he got a finger on it,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Fair enough then.
Fair play if you did.
We deserved that win, to be fair. I mean, shaky moments, but you've got to ride your luck in this. You've got to. And
we created enough, I think, for the. I mean, I wasn't on the final word or anything like that. I think in the first half, a lot of games this season, I've sort of sat there at half time when it's 0-0 and been itching to change something. But we'd created enough for me in the first half for me to be like, this will come. Whether we change something or not. Obviously, the Firmino chance is the one that you should be taking the first half, but then. As time goes on, I'm thinking we're going to create more here.
That was always the difference. For even a season ago, we'd struggle against low block teams, but we wouldn't create anything. It was just frustrating, and it was going round and round and round, and now it's like getting through.
Burnley away 2 seasons ago, and we battered Arsenal first game of the season, and we went to Burnley and we got beaten. It was literally a game of us just knocking it round the edge of the area and trying random pot shots and hoping something went in. And this is the thing: the only fear was. And it was something that you were kind of saying while we were watching the game, Tom, is that it might, we've created these chances. The fear is that we might not just continue to create but not score. And the reason that fear exists is because a Liverpool team a few years ago used to be like that, and that's what all of our fears stem from. Is that a different Liverpool side at some point in the past did something that if it was that Liverpool side, it might be a tricky situation. But it's not that Liverpool side.
Even when it gets to the end, I think I said 75 minutes and then we'll be like on edge. But that's when we scored all our goals, is the last 15 minutes.
You said, if we get to like 75 minutes, and then you went, I'm aware that's 25 minutes away.
Yeah, and then we scored before that. And it's always funny because I always go back to, I think it was the West Brom 2-2, and I've said it so many times, but it's, the fans didn't give up and we got the reward. We sucked the ball in that day, and then they went up and did the German thing and we got laughed at, Baz and all that. We're like, oh, German Martin O'Neill doing this, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, but it's fostered something. It's made the fans believe. And the amount of times this season when the Everton's a massive example, the Spurs one, the PSG one, when you're looking at it, these are massive, massive results happen at the end of games because the fans don't give up, which in turn, the players obviously don't give up, but in turn bolsters them even more.
It's a psychological reason. If you were doing a play and half the people in the audience walked out for the last 15 minutes, are you going to give it the bifters? Like, I don't know, maybe you would, maybe that's the mentality, but or whatever, but there would be a feeling of...
Did anyone see that City fan that got into by ITV?
Yeah.
Why disappointed? We won, didn't we? No, we didn't. You dickhead.
I would pay so much money to see the raw footage of that. Yeah. Because we talked about this the other day. They shave him. Because they cut away to footage of the game, don't they, or the celebrations, and then they cut back and he's obviously had to explain to him what's happened. I would love to see that set of him, of the dawning realisation of what happened and him explaining what he's done or whatever. Because you're right, people, you get what you deserve, and I'm not going to get into this because there's extenuating circumstances around us, but this is you're complicit if you choose to leave a football match early, because
he's left a very specific time there, hasn't he? Like, you know what I mean? There was less than a minute between that goal going in and the offside, and he's not enjoyed any of that whatsoever. He's just gone, well, that tram crew's going to be mad. And straight away, and he's just got... that was a very short window. It was very
semi-final celebrations or tram.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine that he literally missed the goal. I don't know. It happens. There's some people who for whatever reason, like trains and all that, do have to leave before the game as well they don't get home. No, I know, and it's a constant bugbear of mine, because it's like I always say about like this: if Liverpool kicked off a game at 2:00 in the morning, which they do for loads of Liverpool fans, and all respect in the world for people who adapt their lives around that, I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, if that was my entire life, I would just watch whatever was in Liverpool at the normal time instead. Yeah. But even then, like, I just don't think, if that was all my life and it was from 2:00 in the morning, I wouldn't support Liverpool the way I support them. Them now. I just do something different. So like, if you've got to get out and you've got to miss that, this is a complete aside, by the way. But just
do it like the Germans do it and have proper support for all the fans travelling. Just do it that way, and then we don't have this problem, and people will stay and the fans will be better because the Germans do it best.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, great to see everything about this Liverpool side feeding in the right direction. And one of the things that I loved, I think James Milner's attitude typifies everything that I love about this squad. We'll talk about the penalty stuff, the Salah stuff in a second, because I know you want to talk about it, Tom. But Ben, I love the fact that he's been doing this for months now. Like the whole, why you're upset about because we're top of the league. Just buzzing off people who are asking him questions of it. He's so happy, he's so relaxed. And now James Milner is making up, like, he's doing a celebration to have a laugh at Virgil van Dijk. And James Milner is scoring penalties in important games in the running where everything's meant to be nervous and
he's
tense.
Just like the coolest guy, isn't it? You know what I mean? I can imagine him. Do you know where I think he's probably most important? Like, after City games. So, like, City go and win again. And everybody's like, you can imagine Trent being like, oh, we're not, and he's going, just chill.
And you look at James Milner and he's got his Game Boy out with a link cable and he's playing tennis against Virgil van Dijk, and they're just literally like, they're buzzing the tits off and goes, oh, well, these don't care.
Yeah.
He said he's going to go out, didn't he, for the Manchester Derby? He's like, let's go out for something to eat.
Yeah.
He said,
watch a film or something. Yeah. I can imagine just in the dressing room all the time. There's just this calm influence, and on top of that, on the pitch where he does is he just slots in wherever. We discussed this before. Obviously, I don't think the plan was for him to be on the field on Sunday, but obviously Fabinho goes off, and he's just like, What? Oh, you need me? Yeah, absolutely fine. Everybody, it's fine. I'm going to take this penalty now, and I'm going to slot it away. I'd have put my house on him to score on Sunday, that penalty.
He got asked about pressure, didn't he? And he just went back to, well, I played that QPR game with City won the title 3-2. He said, this is nothing. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. But it's that experience that comes into mind.
But this is the thing I've been talking about for years, about how you build a winning mentality in a squad when you've not won anything, is that your older lads who've done it, they're the coolest. When you've done something once, it's so much easier to do it a second time. It just is how it is. You know, if you walk into a new situation, and then once you've cracked it, even the basics of it, it's easy to go again. I mean, I remember the first time I went in Subway. No idea how that place worked.
I thought you could go somewhere else with that.
Once I figured it out that, you know, you tell them the type of bread and then you go through all this kind of stuff, all the fears melted away, and now I can buy Subway like a fucking champ. But that's the thing now. They get to just turn to James Milner and they go, "How's he doing?" And we say when you're most experienced, like if they're flapping, then you know it's probably time to flap. But when he's just there, he's just so calm, so cool. He's prepared, and this is leading in, Tom. He's prepared to walk onto a pitch in a game that he's not necessarily meant to be playing in, take the ball off Liverpool's top goal scorer who's going for the golden boot when we're already 1-0 up in a game, because he's the nominated penalty taker, he's the best penalty taker, and he's also the vice captain of the football club. Exactly. And he doesn't he doesn't shake away from it. Mo asks him, and he's just like,
why would you do that? Why would I let you do that?
Don't be daft, get off me ball.
Mo keeps hold of it and he goes, I'm taking the penalty. Well, goes over and slots it. Even if the keeper dives the right way, he's not saving that. And the amount of times that he's not, like, say, shaked away from the pressure of a penalty. There's been massive penalties this season and he's come up and come up trumps. And there's a big argument of a lot of people saying, oh, Mo Salah should have taken this. You can see the demoralising nature of it all. That's bollocks, I'm sorry. Mo Salah was upset straight after it. Mo Salah's not upset. We won 2-0. Yeah. He won the Golden Boot last season. He's got plenty. He had an opportunity later on in the game to get a goal. Stop moaning about a perceived thing that you think that he's upset. All right, fair enough. He's gone for a golden boot. Blah blah blah. We want him to be happy. He's happy. We won 2-0. He's playing for the team.
He did kind of look disappointed, but I'm kind of glad that he was, because if he won't, I want to take the penalties and I want to score. But he did a post-match interview 2 weeks ago that said, he was on about Marnie and Firmino. He's like, I don't care who scores as long as we win something.
Exactly.
And why is that argument null now, because he didn't get to take a penalty?
Yeah, he's disappointed. He's won the penalty. And he must be immediately thinking, like, go on, I'll take this. Go on, I'll have this. Yeah. And Milner's like, sorry mate, there's rank. Yeah. There's rank and file in this system, and you know what? I'm having it. Yeah. So get off, and it's like, yeah, he's disappointed, but fine. And the problem we've got with this pen is that we've got now a lot of Salah fans who are following Liverpool. They're not Liverpool fans necessarily. And look, there's plenty, and this is not to say every Egyptian is not a Liverpool fan. No, because there's loads of diehard Liverpool fans from all over the world. But there are a percentage of people who are just Salah fans. And the lad who we saw the kickoffs on Twitter was putting this up, and he was really upset about it, saying it was a disgrace, etc., etc. Then I had a follow-up tweet that basically said, I'm a Salah fan first.
He said he didn't lose sleep if Liverpool don't win games.
Exactly.
So
he's not a Liverpool fan, so ultimately his opinion in this instance shouldn't really concern us, but this is a thing to be aware of now, and we were warned about this because we've got a friend who's an Egyptian Liverpool fan, and he said Roma got a bunch of Egyptian following them because of Salah. You speak to it's a mentality we don't really get so much. Maybe in the 80s when like Lineker went and played for Barcelona, people might have paid more attention to that, or Mark Hughes played for Bayern Munich. You might have had those kind of things, but it's not something we're really familiar with.
There's a big. It's kind of the same with Ronaldo and Messi. You get a lot of one or the other, don't you? And then you end up with the big debate about who's better.
They've got their own
realistically,
fans.
They've got their own fans. I mean, I imagine now there's a lot of more Juventus fans this season because Ronaldo's gone over there. I think in one aspect it's a good thing for us because more eyes on Liverpool Football Club in general is a good thing. We're going to sell more merchandise. We're going to grow as a club. That's fine. But yeah, you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with those people either way because, first of all, people just want something to moan at all the time. So if Liverpool are winning the top of the league, people are never happy. People just want something to be upset with because for some reason that gives them a purpose in life. Secondly, it is one of them. There's loads of Hazard fanboys who think that he should be getting Player of the Year, and he's not player of the season, is he? He's just not. But people have a bias towards their favourite players. It's just the way modern football fan bases are.
Yeah.
You can't moan about Jordan Henderson anymore. You can't moan about Buvac. You can't moan about FSG.
No,
Just find the tiniest thing and go, oh, Salah didn't take a penalty. There's a problem.
But this is the thing, it's hard to differentiate because, again, it's an unusual situation for us to be in this boat where you're right, the Messi, Ronaldo kind of thing. When you're a global superstar, particularly from another country, you do naturally have fans. I mean, I guess it's a bit like us paying a bit more attention to LA Galaxy because Gerrard was there, or we pay a bit more attention to Rangers because Gerrard's there, etc., etc. There might be people who pay more attention to, is it Dallas, Rooney's at, or whatever, like, you know what I mean, because he's there, etc. We don't really get that culture in the same way. I was speaking to an Israeli fella the other week who, like, Yossi Benayoun's it was a big deal for Yossi Benayoun to be, and you'd pay more attention to the games that they were playing in because you just would. And it's, again, this is why we've had things like people loads of extra criticism of Mane when it's like Mane's not passing to Salah because all the people who are Mo Salah fans just want everything to revolve around him. I think it's really fucking weird.
I mean, it's one of them where it's literally just the fans talking about it, which is something I take half from. The players don't care. The players, at the end of it, Mo Salah might have gone, I wanted to take that, and James Milner's probably gone, well, look, next time maybe you can when we're 3-0 up, but look, I had to, and Salah will have gone, yeah, no, fair enough, James, nice one.
Salah's probably not thought about it since.
No.
And the thing is for us,
no, he's not.
Exactly, yeah.
The thing is for us, because we've also got this stupid Klopp Salah fallout nonsense story that's broken, we make the link of a little bit go, oh, well, what if there is in all this? Salah's probably gone off the pitch and gone, oh yeah, would you want to take the penalty? It's all right. James might not play on Friday against Huddersfield. Yeah, I'll take a penalty then. He gives earlier on in the season, Salah gives a penalty to Firmino for Firmino to have his hat-trick, and you go, well...
Little show of hands. Yeah. A penalty. It's a penalty, last kick of the game against Wolves, to win Liverpool the league title. Who would you rather have take the penalty, Salah or James Milner?
Oh, if Milner's on the pitch, then
James Milner. Hands up for James Milner.
He hasn't missed a penalty in the league for us. Yeah. It's that simple.
You could say Salah scored that penalty for Egypt in the last minute sent to the World Cup, but like you said before, there's rank. And
I'm sorry, but that penalty is just as likely to go 20 yards over the bar or
but in terms of pressure.
No, I know. But what I mean is he doesn't. James Milner. Look at the way James Milner strikes that penalty against Cardiff. That is a man who takes penalties. Yeah. Mo Salah runs and kicks it as hard as he can in the general. There is no control over where Salah's put that penalty. No. He's just twatted it as hard as he can, and that's the right thing to do. Actually, sometimes in those situations. But we've seen him miss that penalty for us by doing that, by thinking that's his that's not your technique. That's the absence of a penalty technique. That's open for the best. And I like that Milner's gone in there and gone, look, we are winning that game, but 2-0 is game one.
Yeah.
And this is my job. This is one of the things I'm on the pitch for. And also, let's be honest, James Milner will want goals. Yeah. He wants to have as many things on his name as possible.
Cardiff went through later on in the game after a penalty and nearly scored, or didn't nearly score. It got blocked, but you were through. And if it goes to 1-1 at the end because Mo Salah's taking it, Mo Salah probably puts it away at the end of the day. But if Mo Salah doesn't put it away, then everyone's going, why is Mo Salah taking that? Klopp, what are you doing? Klopp would have been fuming. You saw it when I can't remember what team. There was a team and someone just took the pen and missed it. Yeah, and they were like, what are you doing? We've just lost the points there because you've been a knobhead.
I don't think he's played since either.
No,
was it Boubacar? Not Boubacar. He took it off him, didn't he?
Yeah, but they've sent him away because he had a fight in the
But think of the Fulham game. We're 1-0 up.
Exactly.
Ryan Babel scores 1-0, and it actually takes a penalty for us to get that game over the line. Milner's just like, well, look, he's running the risk, and this is true leadership, and this is once again why James Milner's brilliant and why this squad is fucking brilliant, is we've got genuine leaders in that team who are like, I'm just going to take this out of Mo's hands, because it's great that he wants it, it's great that he thinks he's made this decision, but it's rank. Once again, I'm pulling rank. I'm taking this out of your hands because you don't need it. None of us need it. I'm just going to step up and score. No bother. We've got this game won, and then if something happens down the line, then you know what? Yeah, we'll make that decision when we come to it. But no, I thought it was brilliant. And this is the best Liverpool side in Premier League history, Tom.
Wow. This is unreal, and it's been building towards this. It's been building, and it's going to stay like this. And that's the best part for me is you're watching this team that got formed. I remember a few seasons ago, you're looking at the side. There's there's places in the squad where you're like, okay, that's going to be good in the future. We've got people there, and then we got rid of all the deadwood. We brought in loads of good players to then be higher. So the good players we have then went to the squad players, and now you've got a really nice harmony in the side. And I just love what Jurgen Klopp's done for this club. I since he's come in, he's been the perfect man. We knew he was going to be the perfect man, but you're like, I was going to work. He had that dodgy season at Dortmund.
Well, do you remember the first couple of months? And we were still doing social club with Ball Street at the time, and I used to get it all the time. Ben, it was Jurgen Klopp's style of football has been figured out. He got figured out in Germany. Dortmund got figured out. That's why he had that crap last season, and that's why it's not really kicking on for Liverpool. And as it turns out, it was more because, let's be honest, our squad was a bit crap. Yeah. By comparison, we've now bought well, we've trained exceptionally, and we've bought big. And now Jurgen Klopp's brand of football has gone on to an absolute another level. Yeah,
and I think it's a credit to him, but it's also a credit to whoever's running things upstairs, because what they've done is they've gone, look, we're going to get this manager in, and then if we're going to make a big decision like that, we've got to let him make the big decisions in terms of recruitment, rather than have a stupid transfer committee where you end up with players like Mario Balotelli that the manager doesn't really want. We're going to let him. We're going to trust in him and his footballing brain to go, this is the system I want to play, and these are the players who are going to slot in perfectly. Other than Loris Karius, maybe Marco Grujic, who still might come good, every big money sign that we have made, I mean, Naby Keita's still up for debate, but I think he will come good. Every single one has been perfect.
I'm not even sure that it's necessarily, because the transfer committee still exists. We still use the transfer committee,
but there's so much more influence from the manager.
But I think it's the other way. It's the more that everyone trusts everyone else to do the jobs that they're supposed to do. So when someone comes, when Edwards comes to Klopp and says, Mohamed Salah, mate, trust me, he goes, okay. No problem. So you don't have a situation, because you have this in life when you feel like you've constantly got to prove yourself, so you're over-proving, and then maybe you double down on someone. This is what Rodgers did with Benteke. Yeah. You double down too hard because your vision's clouded, because when you're under pressure to prove yourself, you maybe go a little bit harder, or maybe you make your opinion a little bit more staunch. We see this in all walks of life, don't we? When you've put a bad shout out there, and rather than go, oh, that was a bad shout, no, you just dig in. You dig your trench, and you prepare to die on that hill for all eternity. And that's ultimately what happened. But this is the thing, we've got. It's what happens with trust. This is what happens when we say Jurgen can relax. He's not asked. He can afford to say, you know what, I'll take Fabinho off when he's had a little bit of a knock on the head, because it's not about today, it's about next week, and it's about the next 6 months, it's about the player's career. He's not having to build a side that's do or die every single year.
Yeah, to having a squad for the first time, it's quality and depth that I don't think I've had in my lifetime as a Liverpool fan, to be honest. I think even when you go back to 13, 14, we had a good 11, 12, maybe the others, but then you look on the bench and there was nothing. Now we've got the ability to say, what's the best midfield three? And you come up with, exactly, you've got no idea, because it depends on who you're playing.
You could ask that question to all four of us, and we could potentially all come up with 4 different answers to that question.
We're all going to say Fabinho, Hendo, Naby, right?
Right now.
Currently, yeah.
Well, exactly. But the point is,
I think Gini's in there, isn't he? Instead of Naby, so you go.
But last season, at this stage of the season, if one of them got injured, you're like, Christ, I'm relying on Adam Lallana, as you did in the Champions League final, who wasn't up to speed. Now, if someone gets injured, you can go, well, perfect example on Sunday, Fabinho comes on, gets injured, I'll just put Milner there instead, fine. If he gets injured, I'll put Shaqiri in there.
We were talking about Adam Lallana 3 weeks ago, Tom. We were all made up to see him back in the side, and there was a question, he was in our best midfield all of a sudden, and now he's back to being 6th choice.
He wasn't on the bench.
7th choice.
But he can't stay fit enough to be any higher up.
No, but the point. But this is the point, though, isn't it? Is that there's a lad who's if you drop Lallana into our team at any point between now and the end of the season, no one will bat an eyelid anymore, because we know he's good enough.
You can talk about the squad and that, but I want to talk about the first teamers, because a few seasons ago, maybe even last season, who's world class in this team? We maybe have one world class player. I can say Alisson's probably world class in terms of top tier goalkeepers. Yeah. Van Dijk's definitely world class. Yeah. You've got a centre defensive mid. All right, maybe he's not world class, but he's on his way there. The front three is a world class front three. It just is.
Left back.
You've got all these left back, best in the Premier League in my opinion, maybe best in the world. You've got an up and coming right back who's maybe rated as the best up and coming in terms of monetary value. You've got this squad full of world beaters, absolute world beaters who all international grade, all playing top tier football constantly, and then you've got this, like you say, you've got the squad to back it up of again international quality players.
Chuck Joe in that conversation now as well.
Yeah.
Well, we came out.
He's England cap. Well, no, is he?
At times, but we came out of 13-14 and we lost Luis Suarez, who was our genuine world class player, and Gerrard was having his last hurrah as a world class player. And then Daniel Sturridge was, if he'd stayed fit, I think he'd have been creeping into that bracket certainly. But I think after that, what did we have? Who did we have? Coutinho started to step up, but Coutinho never had a full world class season for us. He threatened the season where he left. He was playing at a world class level. Yeah. He'd have finished that season on 25 plus goals because that was what he was on target for, and we'd have looked at him and gone absolutely nailed on world class. And then since then, you're dead right. Without a shadow of a doubt, you're talking Van Dijk and Salah. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. And then you're right. You're then talking about the brackets, aren't you? Of are there any better goalkeepers than Alisson? There's no one better than Alisson. Therefore, he's in the bracket of the best goalkeepers you can get. You're right, for Trent, for his age category, can you get better than Trent Alexander-Arnold? Probably not. No. In terms of left back, it's mad for us to talk about. It's almost like embarrassing. You feel like embarrassing to talk about Andy Robertson being world class, and yet
if he was Spanish, he wouldn't be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That
is world class. Yeah. Look at his return. You mention it every time, and Bailey mentioned it every time. The assist return for your fullbacks. I think that's the best of any pair of fullbacks ever. Their assist return this season. For me, that is unbelievable. And even you talk about, look, you've got Joe Gomez there. There was a point in the season we were going, we're a bit short at centre back. I'm not sure about our centre back options. I'm happy for any one of them now to come in and slot alongside Virgil van Dijk. Yeah. Gomez can come in, I'm fine. Joe Matip's been performing at a top level. I'm fine with it. Dejan Lovren can come in. I'm fine with it. I don't want everyone's talking about, should we sell them? What's the point? Yeah. I mean, you can maybe get better, but we've got good enough. I don't know.
No, absolutely. And that's it. And this is before, we could go through all that squad, and you're talking bare minimum is international class. Yeah. You've got a range of international calibre, wonder kids and genuine world-class players in the squad, and that's what's been built over the time. Right, we're going to talk about Huddersfield in a moment. Before we do, we've been hinting at this for ages. The very first Machin Pajak podcast is out right now. The channel got to 10,000 subscribers without a single scrap of content. Now there it is. It's up. It's me and Chris together chatting random stuff and life. But what we did as well, which I thought was quite interesting for the Redmen listeners or whatever. Obviously, Chris got some stick a number of years back for a rather infamous rant about the Chelsea Football Club, and we got a really in-depth chat about it, what that was like at the time and how that's impacted his life ever since. I think it's fair to say that your life hasn't been the same since that point.
No, it hasn't. And listen, I am, so many people meet me and reference that I've become defined by 7 seconds of words that came out of my mouth. Yeah. Which I think if anybody took a look at themselves, to think that you are defined by about 20 words your entire life. I was 31 at the time, I'm 36 now. I'm defined by about 20 words, and that's what people think I am and who people think I am, and that's not right. We've done so much good stuff, both at Redmen and before Redmen and stuff like that, to think that people just think of me as some kid who fucking spouted off about Chelsea, and to think that people think that I'm a homophobe because of that. Yeah. It's madness. It's madness, and it's maddening, more importantly.
Right, yeah, fantastic. We'll put a link to that in the description, and we'll annotate to it at the end of the YouTube video as well. Other than that, just check my Twitter or Chris's Twitter out if you want more links to that. But yeah, some of the more daft and irreverent stuff around that. But yeah, some really in-depth stuff as well. The feedback's been absolutely magnificent on it. So yeah, go over, watch it, like it, share it, subscribe. That would be great. Huddersfield Town then, Ross Chanley. The end of this season is so close. I keep looking at my calendar and being like, oh wow, yeah, it's like there's 3 games left to go in the league season. That's, once this is out the way, it's tantalising. Obviously, we're recording this Tuesday afternoon, so obviously Man United City, we'll chat a little bit about that. We can't go too heavy on any of this stuff for people who are listening after the fact, but I don't think that game for a start should have any impact on how Liverpool approach this. The simple fact of the matter is, regardless of whether City drop points or not, Liverpool need to continue to be relentless. They need to just go get Huddersfield, get them in a headlock, beat them into submission and walk away with 3 points.
Yeah, I think it's a case of just getting job done, isn't it? The way that Huddersfield have been playing, the way we've been playing, it should be no contest, but you can't let complacency creep in even. But I think that comes back to that mentality.
Not complacent with that sentence.
That is, yeah. About James Milner.
What happens, live and proof.
You know, we've developed a mentality of not being able to do that and just saying, we've got a job to do. Everyone's got their own roles, and then like I've been in fear of that draw or losing to someone who's a potential banana skin. They don't let that happen anymore. And over the past couple of weeks, it took the Chelsea game to go, stop worrying. If these guys know what they're doing now and whatever the plan is, they'll just do it and kill it. And I think being at home is a massive advantage. Being so close, I think that result will play into the hands of the fans, because if City drop points or whatever, I think it's just going to be immense at Anfield, which will play into the Liverpool players eventually.
I think, on paper, Tom, this is our easiest game between now and the end of the season. I'm a little wary of Huddersfield, if I'm perfectly honest. I haven't seen them up close in the away game earlier on in the season. I know it was a bit of a makeshift Liverpool side, but they gave us a real game. Hopefully, look, they're all just done and dusted, and they're just feet up on the beach, working out how they're going to earn enough money compared to this season when they're in the Championship next year. But again, the complacency thing. The good thing what we've got going for us this year, though, is that I don't fear Liverpool complacency anymore.
Not at home. There's no better place for football on earth right now than Anfield. Whenever Liverpool play there, it's a foregone conclusion. It was like 13-14 when it was you go and you'd know that you scored on more than 3 every single game, and it's like that at Anfield now. Every time I go, every time I watch this on the telly, whatever, I know for a fact the players are going to put out performance and the fans are going to put out performance. And what game was it where we stepped it up on a 3 o'clock kickoff, and it was a brilliant Bournemouth, and everyone just came up, rose up, and went, right, this is what it's got to be. This is the level it's got to be now every single game, and it's going to be that again, because we know how close we are. And you can't be complacent, because look, we could feasibly end this season having won nothing and being so close. So it's Barcelona beat us and whatever, and City just win the remaining games and they finish the season like that. But that doesn't change the fact that how good the season's be. Yeah. That doesn't change the fact that we're still challenging for so much. And I think Klopp said it the other day, if you're only fighting to get the Holy Grail, then what's the point? You've got to do it because you're better than yourselves. Yeah. I think Anfield, regardless of what happens at the end of the season, is going to be just the same fortress, maybe even better next season because of this. Yeah. It's all a building process. That's what it's all been. Yeah. You can't be upset.
I was on the train back from the Southampton game, Ben, and I got chatting to a group of lads who were all Oxford United fans, and they were all on the way up to watch them play Walsall in like a League One relegation battle, and they were all just like, I mean, funny enough, they had a great knowledge of what was going on with Liverpool, which maybe tells you how you split your attentions a bit more. But I often think about fans of clubs outside of the big, the big things, the big fights and what have you. And if it was all about the Holy Grail, as Jürgen kind of said, saying, and how people sort of seem to dream that it is, no one would watch any other football clubs. You wouldn't play footy yourself. You wouldn't take a football to the park, because what's the point?
Because you're never going to win the Champions League.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like,
just a waste of bloody time going to the park with your friends, isn't it?
It's like, I've been keeping up similar. I mean, because I'm from Wigan, and yesterday I've been following Wigan all season, because yesterday they secured safety in the Championship for the first time. They've been going up and down for the last few years, and it's like, it's all perspective. That for them is massive. That is the Holy Grail. So just to finish 18th in the Championship is that what it is for that? Because if they'd gone down this season, they don't have the money. They'd have been in League One they wouldn't have come straight back up. Yeah. They'd have lost players, and for that, it's all about perspective. Of that's just where we are at the moment, but. For the likes of, I mean, Everton, it's the seventh at the moment is the Holy Grail, because it's got a potential Europa League, and after an up and down season, that's where they want to be. It just depends on where you want to be as for us right now, where we are, the Holy Grail happens to be the Premier League, but that isn't the case for everybody else.
It's one of them, isn't it, Ross? Is that, you know, there's enough of a bank of evidence that this Liverpool side are not the Liverpool side of 2003, and they're not the Liverpool side of 2009, 2010, or 14, 15. The ones where we come really close and then we fall apart. It is entirely possible that could happen next season, because anything can happen when you're alive, and there's things to be played for. But it's very, very unlikely. It's very unlikely that Liverpool will just absolutely fall off a cliff. So, you know, exactly what the lads are saying there. We need to get into our heads, and I think we are, that Liverpool are actually, this is now Liverpool's level. Yeah. You know, we are going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Premier League, at least for another couple of seasons, and hopefully beyond. And if we manage to secure a Premier League title in that, then we get on that cycle of winning that I always talk about, and I mentioned earlier about how your winners, your older winners teach your younger winners, and your new players come in, and you develop a culture of winning. We're kind of primed and ready for that, really.
It's the only thing that's keeping me going at the minute. Seriously, I'm just going. Well, yeah, because, you know, like you just said, we can finish on 96, 97 points and not win it. That's devastating. But like you said, it's not a flash in the pan. It's not 13, 14. Like we said before, the squad. You know, people are tied down to 4 or 5 year contracts. Like, you know, he's built something for a sustained period. Not like, you know, if we don't win, we're going to sell all our players. That's not going to happen because we've got too many players that are of high quality. We said before.
This is not tying people down to a long-term contract when you're at a shit football club. You know what I mean? And
it's
not like trying to keep your marriage going by buying your wife a new car and hoping that'll mean they love you. You know what I mean? And make them be happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that, which is what Liverpool were doing for years. It was like, listen, do us a favour and park all your life ambitions. Here's some more money. And look, Liverpool fans love you. Don't forget, Liverpool fans love you.
It's the same with Suarez. Just give us one more season. There's no conversations being had about that. With nothing. If we don't win anything this season, it's like,
why we can laugh at things like the Mo Salah link to Real Madrid, because you just know there's none of us are sat here like seriously worrying, well, if we don't win the league, then that's it. That's it.
Talking about this season and the end and stuff like that, there was a point in the season where I was done. I was genuinely done. It was stressful continuously, and I was the football on the pitch, because I wanted us to win, and I just wanted to get to the end of the season, be done with it, and I'll know whether we've won it or not. Whereas right now, I would love a break from the constant stresses of watching Liverpool play and hoping that we win. But I don't want this to end, because we're playing some of the best football ever. Yeah. And I can't be asked to transfer talk, because the best thing about this team is we do the talking on the pitch. Yeah. I remember we'd be like, oh, we're going to sign this player because we need to do this and this. And it's like, well, it doesn't even matter who we get, because Jurgen Klopp's going to get them on the pitch. I just can't.
There's going to be inevitable fume either way with the summer, isn't it? Because I don't think whether we win the league or not that we're going to add too many. We're probably going to add 1 or 2. Yeah. And the inevitable Twitter fume of, well, why aren't we going out and overhauling everything? We don't need to anymore. We don't need to.
I always say, the analogy I always use when I talk about this season was like, I've been to go to a gig, and it's just, you're just uncomfortable and you don't enjoy being at that gig. And I just always used to wish. I remember seeing Oasis live at the City of Manchester years ago, and it was a brilliant gig. But by the time they came on, I was like, I could just do with this being over, but me having all the memories of having watched it. I just can't be asked to exist to do it. I'm standing up, I'm uncomfortable, I need a piss every 5 minutes, and this is just shit. Whereas when you go to a festival, this is what my mentality shift is now. This is not me like, oh God, I just want this all over. When you're at a festival and you can just let yourself go and be totally, you just be in the moment of what you don't have to worry about it, because you know what? I'll just sleep. I'll just fall down at the end, and I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be fine, and I'll go and do it all over again, because this is great fun. This is what I'm here for. I'm here for the music. I'm here for the laughs. I'm here for the experience of it all. And that's what I feel like with Liverpool at the moment. My mentality, I don't know, I've said it for a few weeks. It changed about 3 weeks ago. I think it was before the Spurs game. And now I'm not stressed anymore. Other people have the ability to stress me out a little bit, like, because it's hard being around other people who aren't quite like that, because it does make you have to kind of put your foot down a little bit more to kind of ramp yourself up a bit over the hump of it, like. But I'm just enjoying. I'm enjoying the whole experience. It's weird.
I've turned into that cliche that football's always going to take it one game at a time. Whereas before, I could look at a whole month. Oh yeah, I've got that games. Like, no, stop. Huddersfield next. Don't look past that. And you're looking out for other games you probably shouldn't do as a fan. Yeah. But like I've not stopped thinking about that Manchester derby. I'm toying in my head of going, well, they've been really shit, but they might do all right. They need to pull the finger out. But and it's going, but they are shit.
I'm sure I've had enough though of people tweeting. Can't see City dropping points between now and the end of the season. Can't see where they drop points. Stop looking at who gives a fuck. Yeah. It'll happen or it won't. I think that's where it's come from for me, Ben, anyway, is that you've got to be laissez-faire about football because there's nothing you can do about it. We are subjecting ourselves to football. That's all that we're doing, really. If you can get yourself in the ground and you can have a bit of a sing-song and you can stay till the 96th minute and watch goalkeepers throw one in the cop end, great. You know what I mean? That's the most you can ever hope to do, really. But other than that, there's not. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm really nervous about the derby on Wednesday as well, but either way, it's you can't control. Don't worry about the things you can't control. It's that you can't. We can sit here and talk until the sun sets this evening. We cannot control what Liverpool do against Huddersfield on Friday. We cannot control the result on Wednesday night. It is one of that, but then
so upsetting that that's the case.
Yeah, it is because you want to be able to. The closest you can get is, like you say, getting in the ground and as you say, you end up sucking a few goals into the cop end. And you end up having those memories of doing that. But at the end of the day, you definitely can't affect which goals get sucked into the Stretford end on Wednesday night. You know what I mean?
To be honest, regardless of all that, Messi's playing at Anfield soon. Lionel Messi is playing at Anfield.
I'm not even nervous about that.
No.
I'm just excited because it doesn't
the Champions League a free hit though, isn't it? It's a bit more like it's a break because when we played Bayern in February, I wasn't nervous for those games. I was like, well, I can watch these games. If we go out, then that's not the main priority. That is the event with Barcelona. It's like when Lionel Messi's coming to Anfield. If we go out, then it's like,
but it's a test. And it doesn't mean that I'm wrong about Liverpool being boss because we've already proven we're amazing. We got to the final last season and that wasn't like a flash in the pan. We've come back again even better this year. If Liverpool lose to Barcelona, it's because you've come up against a really good team. I mean, unless they absolutely wipe the floor with us, and in which case, I'd still probably look at it and go, okay, well, what are all the lessons that Liverpool will learn with that? Once I've calmed down, because I'll be upset if I have to watch that, of course. But I don't think that'll happen. I just think that, and it's going to be so. We've missed this. This is what we've missed. We haven't watched. The last time we saw Messi, he was a child just making his way into the senior team, and Alvaro Arbeloa absolutely pocketed him in the new camp, and it was glorious. And that was like 12 years ago. Yeah. 12 years ago. Yeah. We've missed Messi. We've missed him being coming up. We've missed being able to rightfully test ourselves against the best teams in world football. We haven't been able to experience that. We have watched some of the worst football in the continent of Europe has had to offer, both being produced by ourselves and other by travelling to the furthest reaches of the arse end of nowhere to watch football clubs I just don't care about. As snobby and as elitist as that sounds, I don't care about FK Rabbit Nicky. I don't. I'm dead sorry. But whatever.
Think of who we've got to see this season. I got to see Neymar in the flesh. There was Ronaldo last season. There was Mbappe. There's all these players that at some point in your life you want to be able to say, I watched them play in the flesh. And you're right, it's been so long we've missed the progression of these fantastic players. And now there's fans of Barcelona who are going to go, we got to see Mohamed Salah there. We got to see Virgil van Dijk play. Yeah. That's the level we're at. Yeah. And this is
Jordan Henderson. James Milner.
Joe Matip.
It is fantastic. And again, you're singing the praise of these players, and I'm going to be gutted when the season finishes, when we've won the Premier League and the Champions League, because I'm not going to get to see them for the whole 4 months, 3 months.
Before the Bayern Munich draw, there was a thing doing around of being sports, and you're outside the new camp, and I put it back out the other day, and he said all the Barcelona fans don't want Liverpool in the Champions League because that's the team that they fear. That's how far Liverpool have come in a short space of time.
Absolutely right. Brilliant. Yeah. So keep smiling, everyone. It is just this is what it is. This is what we've been gagging for. What we've been aching for. Yeah. All these years, and it's not just since we last won a trophy. This is like a culmination. Even when we won the European Cup in 2005, we weren't this good. We were nowhere near this good. That's why we laugh our tits off the fact that Jimmy Torre's got a Champions League winners medal and Vladimir Schmeiser and Milan Barros and Djibril Cissé. These lads have become legends, and they're not even fit to lace the boots of the legends that went before them. No. And yet, now, we've got an option. We've got a chance to make some of these lads absolutely live forever, and they will fully deserve it as well. And if they don't do it this season, then they'll do it next. Right, a couple of questions before we wrap up. Sam Harrison, who is one of our subscribers to the redmentv.com. Who is the most famous person that you know of that has a Redmen TV account? Do any ex-players have one? And weirdest interaction with a subscriber? Now, the most famous, I couldn't think of any, because there's plenty of ex-Liverpool players who follow the Twitter accounts. I've no idea if anyone subscribes to the channel, to the website. I don't know that. But I don't know why it occurred to me. In fact, I know why it occurred to me. I got on this day on Facebook that the lead singer from Creed started following us on Twitter about 4 or 5 years ago or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, the lead singer from Creed follows. How fucking random is that? Christian Rock gets in. The best of the best.
Iconic
Christian
voice,
Rock. Yeah, absolutely. You seen any weird ones?
Well, subscribers to the website. I know one. It was Lucas.
Does he actually?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm happy with that.
Yes, I think that's because we obviously interviewed him last.
And he wants to check we've not made a prick of him. So yeah, what's the video?
But there's literally loads on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, Lucas watches the Man of the Match podcast. That comes out every single game. We say
he always comments.
Does he say
all the best people
does he comment that the beans on toast?
Yeah. Well, if you're wondering what that is, you've got to watch it. Yeah. So you know what I mean. You're missing out on quality content.
Yeah. Okay, Dan Owen, what's your favourite guilty pleasure film? Is it one that maybe the kids put on that you end up more interested in them? I'm sure Ross can relate to that more than these two. But yeah, go on, Tom. What's your guilty pleasure film?
Hercules.
Hercules.
That is one of the best films.
You said that so definitively, and it just wasn't the word that I was expecting you to say at all.
It's genuinely fantastic. I watch that any day of the week. Me and Si went round to my mate's house, and we put it on the telly, and Si had never seen it, and by the end of it he was like, yeah, it's not a bad film, that. And Si doesn't like my film recommendations. Hercules, the animation version, is one of the top films ever made.
The game's brilliant as well.
Is it good?
Yeah. PS1.
Yeah.
There's a clutch of Disney films where I was obviously in that crossover age where I was too old, so I was probably like university age around the time that they came out, all around GCSEs or whatever, and they're really good. Hercules and The Emperor's New Groove are both really, really good, but they're never thought of as being the classics because it was like you had that renaissance of Aladdin and then Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, and then they were the ones that followed. Mulan's one of them as well, I think, and then you come on to the more modern ones. But go on, Ben, what's you?
I don't mind a good rom-com. I was saying to Ross in the office before, so I
can imagine you like
a rom-com. So we went out last week and I met you at Motel Bar. And you were they were all, what have you been doing tonight? And I was just well there was a rom-com on ITV2, and I don't go into
what was the rom-com?
It was What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz and Aston Kutcher. It's one of them where
I've actually seen
it's one of them where you're not looking for these films. They're just on the telly on ITV2 at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and you just go, oh, I've got a tub of ice cream here.
I've got my slippers on.
I'll put my feet up, and they're just easy to watch. And there's
just reposition all the cushions on the sofa.
There's about 5 funny lines in the entire hour and a half, but it's fine. What?
Are you 5 seconds away from saying Bridget Jones?
Well, I've never seen Bridget Jones. I've never seen the classic rom-com. I just find rubbish ones that are on the telly and I go,
I'm partial to a rom-com every now and then. I have done that.
Jennifer Aniston's got an absolute catalogue.
All I have to say on the rom-com thing is that I am made up that superhero films have flourished because ultimately since I've had kids, you've got to pick your cinema trips, and I am famous of the certain films that I have to watch on the pictures, which means that me and Mrs. don't get to watch rom-coms on the pictures anymore, and I have seen some fucking horrendous films, largely ones where the two protagonists are leaning back to back on the poster, and maybe she's like quite smart and fit, and he just looks a little bit rough or ragged or whatever. Gerard Butler's normally in them. Fuck that. Ross, what's your guilty pleasure film?
You named half of them there. It's any Disney princess film, just because I have to watch them. Yeah, and it's they're actually quite good.
Frozen.
Frozen. I put Moana on there. It's not even a guilty pleasure. I like it.
I don't feel guilty about it in any way, shape or form.
I'll watch it without my daughter there.
Tangled's better than Frozen, by the way, if anyone's watching.
Is that the Scottish one?
No,
No,
that's
that's-
Brave.
Yeah.
That's a good film.
Brave's a good film.
Yeah. They're all good films.
I've
They're
seen
all
any of
they're all
these.
just genuinely
There you go.
kids films like Shrek. I watch Shrek all the time. Kids films, but I'll just watch
18 years old.
My guilty pleasure film, and I guess it's not really, I don't know if it's classed as a guilty pleasure, it's a film called The League of Their Own, and it's a Tom Hanks film about women's baseball, and so all the men go off to war, and the women's baseball league gets set up in its stead, and it's got Gina Davis and Lori Petty as the main character. It's got Madonna's in it and all kinds, and it's brilliant. It's one of those films where it's like a comfort film. I can watch it at any time. You can throw it on and you just get lost in it. It's brilliantly produced. It's a proper forgotten gem. But yeah, that's probably up there. The only other one is Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I can't watch it anymore because I loved it so much as a kid that I'm scared that if I watch it now, I will realise that it's terrible. And I'll ruin a priceless part of my childhood for doing it. So.
It's a classic, though, to be fair.
It is a classic. Yeah. It's not. It's like it's that clutch of terrible Arnie action films after Terminator 2.
It's a classic Christmas film, though, isn't it?
That's
Die Hard.
No.
no, that's oh shit, no. Jingle All the Way you're thinking of?
We guys get the Last Christmas toy. I think that's Last Action Hero, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
I mean, he literally buys the last action figure.
Yeah, but it's not a Christmas thing.
In Jingle All the Way.
Ah, okay, that's pretty confused.
But no, it's where there's a kid and he gets a magic movie ticket and he goes into the movie screen and becomes in the action film where Arnold Schwarzenegger is this guy
terrible,
called
yeah.
Jack Slater.
This sounds
who's an action hero.
awful.
It's
It sounds
terribly
amazing.
Like
Yeah.
it's got the guy who's the dad of the Lannisters from Game of Thrones. It's like the baddie. Charles Dance. That's it. Brilliant. Thanks. Is the baddie in it, and it's class. It's class and terrible. He uses the expression because it plays up on Arnie being Arnie, where he blows up an ice cream van and an ice cream cone basically kills a guy by stabbing him through the back of the head, and he says, "Iced him." That's a cone of phrase.
Yeah. All of them bad films. So like even like Piranha 3D. There's Sharknado. I love all them.
I think James Cameron directed Piranha 2.
Really? Yeah. Well, there's Piranha 3 Double D, which is. I mean, don't watch
Quite
it.
something.
It's terrible.
Quite
They're
something.
all anything where you watch them and you're just like, that acting is some of the worst acting ever, and you can sit there, have a bevy or whatever, and just sit there and laugh at how much these taking it serious. It's great.
Oh, what's the Deep Blue Sea?
Oh, yes, what a film!
Yeah, absolutely.
Lake Placid.
Songs that have got like where the actors in them make songs for the soundtrack in them, like Men in Black.
Yes.
I think we miss that. We miss that culturally. Where is that? Where has that gone? Like, I mean, I suppose we're going to get it back with the new Aladdin live action, but nevertheless.
I think it's just Will Smith.
Yeah, that's it. We need classic Will Smith. I'm trying to be a proper actor, Will Smith. Right, we're going to be doing the bonus Q&A straight after this one with more of your questions and more of this kind of random biff. But yeah, we've got, would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands? What do we think of the club selling standard and elite shirts? Who would be the perfect current Liverpool players to replace me and Chris on Redmen? Other sports that we follow? If we could kick one current and one ex-footballer square in the nuts, who would it be? And a whole lot more. So if you want more from this, go over to the redmentv.com and sign up. As mentioned, if you want to watch me and Chris's first podcast, the Major Page podcast will annotate at the end of the YouTube video as well, so click through and watch that. Other than that, guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching and for listening. Walk on.